are so many uses for old cans, whether it's soup cans or tomato cans. Well, you can certainly recycle them, but how about some of these creative ideas? This one was painted, and it has the breast cancer awareness here. And you can put a slit in the top, put all of your loose change, and give to your favorite cause. Or you can use them for storage. This has lots of storage inside. This one has an inspirational scripture on the front, or you can put your favorite saying. Now, if you do apply something like this, you want to be sure that you use some Mod Podge over it so that it's sealed. Or you can do what my friend Jenny does, and she uses this can to feed the birds every day. So the next time you get ready to toss some cans, think about all the creative things that you can do with them. Well, I think that is the little can that could. There's so many uses for those. Great projects too for the summer for the kids. Well, Justin Higginbotham is here with Designer Floors. I'm so glad you're here, Justin. Look at what we have set up. I'm so excited. You are actually showing us real time today. What I love about it is you're going to show us how to install, but you are actually the resource to get all of these products. Tell us about Designer Floors.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me back on. We are located in the Bellevue area. Our address is 8200 Highway 100, and we are a one-stop shop. So whether you just want to do a backsplash, or if you want to bring us blueprints, we can help you custom build a house. So we really do it all now.
Yeah, and your showroom is so beautiful. It's on Highway 100, and everything you have installations on the floor. You have all of the samples that we can see of tile, of flooring, window treatments. I mean, you really do it all over there.
That we do.
Well, and you will also be the resource to install this for us as well, and you really are a master at this. You make sure that it's all done correctly, and you're going to give us some tips on what it is that we need if we're going to install. But show me what you've got there.
Well, backsplashes are something that can easily be done by a first-time do-it-yourselfer. As long as you just choose a easy tile to install, and as long as you don't get into any complex designs, a backsplash is very, very simple, and you can knock it out in a weekend and really transform your kitchen. So the first thing that you're going to want to use is a trowel. Obviously mine have a lot of wear and tear on them, but you're going to need the trowel.
Just hold that up just so the camera can pick it up. So this is a trowel. It's got the little edged, the teeth there. Correct. And that's very important when you're installing.
Correct. And depending on what size towel you're using, it'll specify on the box what size trowel you should use.
Okay, so first your tools. You're going to make sure that you have the right tools before you start the job. You don't want to get into the middle of the job and think, oh, forgot that I needed a sponge. So show us all the tools that we need.
Okay, besides the trowel, you'll need something to mark your lines and make sure you're keeping everything level. So you can either use just a regular level and a pencil. I like to use lasers, so it just makes it.
Well, of course, guys love
simpler.
Lasers, and you're actually moving that. So can you actually see that on camera? So that's your laser right there.
Correct. So that just makes just the layout a whole lot easier as far as where on the wall you're actually starting from.
Okay.
And that first course of tile is extremely important. If you get that crooked, it's really going to make the rest of the job a whole lot more difficult. So you really want to make sure that first course, everything's level with it.
Right, because you don't want to walk in after you're finished and it's all going downhill.
Correct. So especially if something's going on with the floor or with the cabinets or something, and that first course is just a little bit unlevel, you can go in with spacers and shim that first course where needed. That way all your lines running across are going to be nice and straight.
That's perfect. Okay, and what else do we need?
Well, after you get the tile installed, you're going to need a grout float. This is what you're going to use to apply the grout later on.
Now, let me see that. That's actually like a little, is it rubberized or what is this?
It is rubber.
Okay.
They make several different ones depending on what type of grout you're using.
Okay.
But the main thing, get one that has a nice big comfortable handle on it. Whatever store you go into, pick one up, kind of play with it a little bit. Just make sure it's going to be ergonomical and comfortable in your hand.
Because you're going to be using it for many hours. Okay.
The other thing you'll need is a margin trowel. So this is what you'll use just to mix up your grout, and it also helps as far as just kind of getting stuff in little nooks and crannies, and just getting it on your grout float once you get down to the bottom of the bucket.
Okay. And
other than that, you'll need some mastic, which this is what you're going to use to
That's actually
adhere
the adhesive.
Grout. This is the adhesive.
All right, and you're going to actually show us, and you said that we'll need a bucket of water. That's
Absolutely.
really important.
Any tile job you're doing, always have an extra bucket of clean water and a sponge. You're always going to have a bucket of water just to use as a wash bucket, but always have a second one there just with clean water, because you're always going to have something to clean up during the process.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so how do we get started?
All right, the first thing you're going to do...
Of course, this is my favorite part. Wait, before you do that, we have to choose. And you actually brought me 2 selections.
There's 2 different tiles that we
show
can
them,
do.
We've got 2 selections. Now, you say that this is actually fairly easy
this one is
to put in.
Both of the ones I brought are extremely
All right,
easy.
so I like the chocolate glass. So let's put that one in.
All right.
Ooh, I like
and that's
that.
what that's going to look like.
Okay, perfect. Now you can start. That was my favorite part. Okay, I'm going to put this back here.
So you'll just get some mastic on your trowel.
Ooh, glob it
You'll
on.
come in and just glob it on. So start going around. The first thing you'll do with it, once you get it on there, you'll actually take the flat side of the trowel, and we're going to do what's called keying it in.
Okay.
You're just going to take this and flatten it out over the whole area. This is going to make sure that you have a nice even coat to start with, so that everything is going to fully adhere evenly.
Okay, so and you're using not the teeth part. Now that's
Not
the part
yet.
we don't want to use that
Correct.
yet.
Not
okay.
yet. Right now we're still just using the flat part of the trowel.
Okay. And
So
you're doing
we'll
a
just
great
put
job
little
in
bit
such
more
a
on
pretty
here.
shirt too. And this is real time, so that's kind of fun. It's a lot of fun too, and a lot of satisfaction if you can do this yourself. Of course, you offer. Oh, so now you're using the other side. Now,
Yes,
tell
now
me
we're
why
gonna-
you put the lines in there.
The lines are going to just make sure you have an even disbursement
Okay.
of whatever you're using, whether it's thin set or some type of thin set
Okay.
or mastic.
Okay.
But you get that on there. The trowel is going to determine how much you put on. You just
Okay.
hold the trowel at a 45-degree angle and just work it up.
Okay.
And then if you have any spots where you have a little excess down there, we'll just kind of clean those up some.
All right,
then
now
go
we're
over it
ready to
again.
put the tile in. Let's
All right.
see that. This is what gets fun is when you've got a 12 by 12 like this.
So we'll take this and you just set it on and just kind of push it in.
Okay.
I want to do a little bit more on the top. All right, and then take your level.
Okay.
You can see on here that we're just a little bit crooked with it.
Because now you have a lot of play here. You can
Correct.
really move this
You can do
around.
it while it's still
Woo,
wet.
after a couple of hours, you can forget about it. You're going to
Exactly.
get a chisel, hammer. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so,
we'll just
say
start
that
with
we've got it leveled, and you said keep checking the levels all the way through.
And
Now
then
what do
for-
we do?
You're going to have some excess mastic here.
Okay.
So we'll just take our margin trowel and just kind of scrape this off
Okay.
along the bottom. All right.
Okay.
And then once that is done, we'll take our sponge real quick.
And really, your sponge is your best friend in this. I mean,
It
you
is.
really have got to keep a sponge with you, and especially when you start grouting. Now, I've seen, I've actually specified dark color grout like browns and blacks before. Whew, you really need to keep cleaning that off. But a backsplash like this can just instantly add color. So if you have a kitchen and you don't have a backsplash, or maybe you even need one in a bathroom, consider some of these mosaic tiles. I love the glass mosaic tiles. Okay, now we're ready to
Now we're ready to grout.
grout.
So
Now this
if you're-
grout comes in lots of different colors, by the way, too, and I like the color you've got there. It's kind of a bone creamy color.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, if you're really doing this, you're going to want to wait till the next day.
Right,
That way
it
you let
needs
the
to
mastic
cure,
set up.
but
Correct.
because we're
You
on
gotta let it
TV
cure.
time, we're gonna kind of speed it up a little bit because we want you to see what this looks like as an end result.
Yeah, so take your margin trowel,
Okay.
put a little grout on here, and then you just start pushing it in. Same thing, you work everything with a 45-degree, holding your grout float at a 45-degree angle,
Okay.
and just push it in.
And I know for everyone watching at home, they're thinking, oh, that's going to mess up the whole thing. But actually, it's not going to mess it up, because once you get it grouted in and you start using that sponge, that's why you want a sponge and a couple of buckets nearby.
Right. That way you keep everything nice and clean. Then you take your sponge later on, and first thing we're going to do is what's called the rough wash.
Okay, so now that's just pushing it into
it helps
the
to
crevices.
push it helps to push it into any spots that you might have missed the first go round.
Okay.
And then just make sure that everything is nice and even. And then we'll come back later on and we'll start wiping it clean.
And that's when it starts to get pretty. Now, remember, you can also, grout is a lot of fun, because you choose a dark grout that can really make your tile pop, or the grout, when you use a cream color, that can actually be the accent color. So it's really important what color grout that you use as well. Wow, this is really looking good now.
And a lot of what we do with this particular tile right here, you're talking about accents, on a lot of backsplashes we do that are tumbled stone with using 4x4s, we'll actually take these little glass pieces here, since it comes on that mesh, we'll cut out little 4x4s or whatever size that you want, and we'll put those in the wall as accent pieces. And it just really helps just make the whole backsplash pop.
Right, and if you start getting brave, I mean, you certainly can mix in like 6x6 tiles. You can mix in some of these 1/4 inch mosaic tiles, and you can get really fancy with it. Now, I've seen some of the backsplashes that you do, and they're very, very detailed. So when you do, if you're going outside of this realm and you're really not an expert, you want to hire the experts to do something that's very intricately designed, right? Because a lot of things can go wrong. Have you seen some things kind of go wrong if people don't know?
The other big thing with it is when if you're using subway tiles or any other type of tile that's not necessarily on a mesh like this, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they'll push them on there and it'll be done, but they won't take whatever they're using, either a level or a square, and they won't make sure that it's pushed in completely flat in all four directions. And so
then you ended up, and I've seen this happen.
Yeah, you have under counter lighting, and essentially it makes your backsplash look 3D instead of nice and flat, because all the bottoms are kicked out on them.
Exactly. So that you need that level is so important. Having the right tools to start with, make sure you do that before you ever start a project. 2, as you said, make sure that you use that level so that you know, it doesn't start migrating. And then you also said one of the things that you were saying is to make sure you've had the bucket of water so that you can keep cleaning this and going over it.
It's a lot easier to clean when everything's wet and you're working right then. Don't wait till later and say, oh, I'll come back and clean that up. I'm going to keep on working.
Sure. Well,
Just
we can keep working. We've got a little bit more
as you
time.
go.
Let's put a little bit more on this side. And one thing that we found as a trend that we're seeing as designers is that so many people are doing like a medallion over the stove area. If you're doing a backsplash in a kitchen, medallions are all the rage. So think about having this, maybe the 1/4 inch mosaic tiles, but what about a specialty tile right over your stove area? And one of the things that you have told us, and you always give us great advice about this, something I didn't think about before, but is about sealing. Like once this is all dry, what you were talking about, a penetrating sealer.
Especially in kitchens, mainly over the stove right there, you're certainly going to want to seal that tile. You don't want to have a situation down the road to where you're cooking spaghetti or something like that and have that sauce bubbling up, or the oils from whatever you're cooking, and have all that get onto the tile, stain the tile depending on what type of tile it is, or stain the grout. So you're going to want to come back later on. Most sealers recommend that you wait 2 to 3 days after everything is fully grouted to come back and actually apply the sealer. There's several different ones that are on the market that are really good. The easiest way to apply it is to put it in a spray bottle, spray it on, let it sit for a minute, wipe off the excess, you're done.
Really?
It's very easy to
You know,
do.
we could probably use Mary Claire. She has a really powerful sprayer. We could probably use her
That would
powerful
work.
sprayer.
That would absolutely
but
work.
let's talk about too, because there's the difference between the penetrating sealer and then an enhancing sealer.
Correct. You're
So
going to
tell
use
us the difference of that.
enhancers if you're dealing with natural stones.
Okay. So with your natural stones, say that
Correct.
again.
With natural stones,
Okay.
you have the option of using an enhancing sealer.
And tell us what happens when you use that.
It's going to change the color of the tile. So it's really just going to give that tile a wet look to it.
Okay.
So it's just kind of make it a shade darker is what it's going to do.
So you might want to test that if you want.
Absolutely test it.
And it'll say right on the container whether it's a penetrating sealer or whether it's an enhancer,
Correct.
right?
It absolutely specifies on the bottle.
Yeah. Man, you have done such an amazing job. I mean, here we have installed part of our backsplash here. You can see this area. We've almost finished. And then tell us real quickly about what you've got down below, because this is our countertop, right?
Mm-hmm. This is a extra piece of quartz that we had in the warehouse, and we're just using this as our display here today. But quartz is really becoming very popular, kind of overtaking granite.
It's actually a very solid surface. Well, we've got party favors coming up. Thank you so much, Justin. But we always like to end our show with some party favors. That's coming up right after the break.